Hey guys, it's Bear from the Bears Hiking and Outdoorsman's Club. Currently from Ranch Hall, Pennsylvania, coming at you live here from our new location at 54 Mill Road in Clingerstown, Pennsylvania. Doing a quick look at the Nature Hike Outdoors Aries Geodesic Dome hot tent. This hot tent's pretty big. This is the smallest one they got right now. You can see the setup here. It has 3 poles. It goes straight across. You can do this with 2 people, but I did it with 1 person. It was pretty easy. You just slide these in here. So sleeves, just like a standard pole pocket here. And they end up in these little holes down here. Just gotta pay attention to which ones go into which ones there. And you can snug these up here after they're all in there. After you get the poles in, then you stake out the 6 corners here. You can see I have the guy lines out. There are 4 vents. You can undo these and hook them back up. There's 4 vents here, and there's screen mesh on there to allow airflow. Now the poles is kind of crisscrossed. This has 2 doors, as you can see, 2 big D doors, and it has a flap here. You can just unroll these, and they tap. There's little tabs here to hold that up. That zips down on both sides here. There is no zip on the bottom here, which allows airflow to get up underneath it. When you're, using your wood stove in there, gives you a little bit more ventilation. You don't want this completely sealed off. Now, you guys can see the setup. There is 4 guy lines on it. There is a guy line attachment point under each vent, and there is 4 vents. This has a moon roof here for stargazing, checking out the stars on clear nights. Now there is a little bit of a cap. The cap is attached with these little hooks. These little tabs here, and you can leave this off if there's no rain expected, but it's Pennsylvania, so there's always a chance of rain. So I'll leave the cap on, leaves the air to come up underneath it. Now I have used this in the winter time and it was okay, but I wouldn't write home about it. This isn't like the greatest tent for holding heat. With that cap up there, the heat was kind of escaping. I had to close all 4 of these vents, and even then it was kind of cold. I actually had a moving blanket that I draped over top of the tent, and that pretty much remedied that. But the way this tent's made, it's okay for fall. I wouldn't recommend camping in wintertime with it. But basically what you do is, when you put these 3 poles in, you want to make sure these 3 poles here, the way they come down here, is heading into the wind here and not the other way around. You don't want the doors scooping up wind, otherwise this tent doesn't stay still. Moves around quite a lot. You guys can see I do have a diesel heater hooked up and up underneath the skirt here. Now this does have a snow skirt or sod skirt, but this one doesn't have the skirt that hangs out here like most hot tents do. It doesn't. There's nothing to push snow up against the side. You don't need it on this one. The snow will fall down and it'll collect here, and I'll show you in a second. There's an internal skirt. This is pretty nice. And there's the second door here, and you can roll this up like that. You can leave it up like I am currently. There is a nice flap on each side that stops the rain or snow from going into the zipper and building up. There's tabs here. You can tie this screen back. You can also extend both flaps out with poles and make like a little bit of a outdoor area, like an awning space on each side of this tent. Just pretty nice. Here I'll show you how nice these zippers are. The zippers go fully around. There is only, you can see, maybe 3 inches here of a bathtub floor here. Now, this does come with an inner tent that you can use, and it makes half of this tent screen, like a little screen house. And then it makes one side, this side here, during the summer out to about the middle of the floor here, like a porch area. And then here would be a door, and it attaches to these rings here. There's rings all the way across if you're using that. But I wanted to show you guys what it looks like with a wood stove. Now, we're currently in June. It's June 3rd today. You guys can see the vents. And I'm probably not going to use the wood stove because it's pretty warm out already. But I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like when you just have it all open like this. Now this is the Green Stove Defender. This is all stainless steel. This is a neat little stove. You guys can get these on Amazon. They are $3.59, and it's set up kind of awkward. You guys can see has a stainless steel pole. These all nest in each other. They go up in size. So when you take them apart, you got to make sure they're right way when you put them back together. And they all fit inside the stove. The legs fold up, and this just goes in a bag. You see the baffles here on the side of the stove. The baffles actually suck cold air in from the floor, goes through here and fuels the fire, okay? And then goes up here. There's a baffle built across the top of this, and it stops about here. So the cold air goes into the stove, heats up the fire, heats this all up, and it goes like this. The smoke goes all the way up and around before coming straight up through the pipe. So it basically reburns all the smoke. So the smoke that comes out the top of the stack is virtually clear. It's mostly just heat. But this thing is really, really efficient. Like if you leave these things wide open like this, and you don't close this will burn through a lot of wood really quick. And this stove gets extremely hot. But this thing was really thought out when they made this. You guys can see it has 3 little trays in here. You can remove the trays. And this will fit a pretty large log. It looks small, but it's not really small. It's just like an A-frame tent. This thing's very, very efficient. I had this thing bright red. The pipe bright red. I mean, bright red. And nothing deformed. The pipes still roll around for, you guys can see they moved this perfect. Now here's the Naturehike. The Naturehike has this stove jack here, this flame retardant ring. You guys can get one of them rubber gaskets and put on here if this bothers you, this little bit of gap. I mean, sometimes some mosquitoes can come in here, but generally in this, in the winter time, there ain't no bugs, so you don't have to worry too much about that. I mean, snow and stuff, rain might drip down through, but it's going to burn up when it hits the stove. Now, I do recommend buying a fireproof mat. This is a Solo Wilder mat. These are on Amazon for, I think, $20 right now. And I like this one because it's fire retardant, and it has this fluorescent yellow. You can see the branding there. You can actually stake this down. Now, on the Naturehike Aries, I don't know if you guys can see the zipper there. You can actually unzip the floor and roll this back if you want to sit your hot tent stove on the ground itself. And I still suggest using a mat here, and you can roll that back and with these little tie backs. But like I said, I'm not going to be using this most likely. I just set this up so you guys can see what it looks like. Now if I do put it on, I'll probably be nuts because it's, like I said, 79 degrees out today. So that'd be bad. This is the internal snow skirt that I was talking about. You guys can see it folds back. Like you can actually take the floor out of this, but you see the snow when it goes down on the outside isn't going to go through the thing here. It's not going to affect anything. And then this overlaps that a little bit. Then on all these corners, there's these little pull ties here. You can tighten this up. So the floor actually tightens all the corners. There's my solar generator right now. This is the eHome Nitro Go Spurflux Cold Fusion 300 plus solar charging generator here. And this is pretty nice too. It has like your 12-volt cigarette lighter here. You can turn everything on. It has an app. It has a 100-watt C charger here, another 100-watt C to C, and these are the USB A's here for charging. On the reverse side, uses like a standard, almost like an old school computer plug. It just has one plug here, but I pushed a power strip in here to use other things too. It has a reset button, pretty nice. Right now I'm using a solar panel right now and charging this up. It's just a standard, I forget what they're called here, pigtail ones for a solar panel, but that's what I'm being charged with right now. This has a light, 3 settings. It's pretty nice. This thing charges in about 5 hours. And I have it tucked under the thing, the wire, out to the solar panel. That's currently charging. That's what I'm going to be using to power my diesel heater tonight. Probably will use that. Here is the moonroof from the inside here. That's what it looks like. So if you're laying under here directly, you get a good thing of the stars. This also has a flap. You guys can see, you can hook this up and cover that moonroof up if you don't want, light blaring in here in the morning, or if you're scared. Some people don't want anybody looking through the tent. I mean, it is a white tent. It's actually gray, but I consider it white. So it does let light in. You can see the big D doors on both sides. Now I'm 6'1", and I'll see if I lay here, my feet, I can't even reach the other side of this. This tent is very large. I would say you could easily, even with a wood stove in here, if no one's using cots, fit 4 people in here, no sweat. Now without the wood stove, maybe 5 people and a dog, or 5 people and 2 kids. No, I've had 6 people in here with the wood stove, and we camped just fine. We were all just laying on sleeping bags on our mats just across the thing here. Oh yeah, it was close, but we were all friends and stuff, so it's not a big deal. And here is the mesh inner underneath that cap here. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screen panels. That's how big my hand is. These are pretty big. They're about 2 foot, and then they narrow down to the point here. Now without the inner mesh that goes across here and goes back, it leaves you all these things here, so you can hang like lanterns or hang your clothes up if you're not using the inner tent. I don't have the inner tent with me, so I can't show you that right now. You can see it's pretty nice. Now I can't stand up in here because, like I said, I am 6'1", and it's only about 5 feet tall. So keep that in mind when you're buying with us. And this tent is currently $354 on Amazon right now. You can see that does not have YKK zippers or anything like that, but they do zip with ease. You see I'm barely pulling on this and just, one hand, no problems. It doesn't snag on anything. It's just fine. Doesn't catch. I'll show you guys. You can undo these toggles here. I'll do one side here. Well, maybe. Doesn't seem like it wants to work for me here. Okay, there we go. And we can get these out, and I'll show you how the door goes. And it has this flap, rolls down here. You see, now you might have to hold your fan back here, your fingers, to pull these down. But there is a little piece of Velcro you can put across here, and you can do that on both sides here. Fairly easy. Okay. And that'll close that up, so it has a little bit of a flap overhang here. Covers up the zipper. Now you can make this nice and smooth here. But at the bottom, here's the piece here. There is no zipper, so if something actually, a little animal or something wants to crawl up there, it's not going to get through because there's screen, but it's going to allow airflow to go through there. Now you can also stake these out here, pull this out a little bit more too. I don't have that done. I just, it didn't matter to me. I'm not afraid of the dark or what little animals are crawling around in here. You guys can see it does open up pretty nice. And these are all aluminum poles. They're huge aluminum poles. And it's pretty simple. They just go through these black sleeves here, and they crisscross each other. And you just snap on with these little snaps. And they go down into these little holes down here, the ends. And you stake it to here. And you tighten these up a little bit. You can pull these snug. It makes everything nice and taut. Like I said, you can close these vents. The vents, you're getting too much air or rain going on there, you can close these. There's a little piece of Velcro there. That'll hold these down. You have to put the kickstand this way, and then there you go, like that. And it'll hold it down a little bit. But for most part, in summertime, you're gonna want them vents open. Here is the stove jack here. This is all Velcro. And the flap gets pinned back here nice, hop out of the way, away from the hot pipe. Now I do recommend, if you are using this as a hot tent, you guys can see how the pipe wobbles around. I recommend buying some D clamps or like carabiners and running them through the holes up there with some wire, and always guy out your stovepipe so this doesn't wobble around, because you don't want this to come down in the wind on top of your tent, because it's going to burn. It's going to light your tent on fire. It's going to be really bad. So I do recommend guying that out if you're going to use that in winter time or summertime, whenever you guys are planning on using it. And always make sure you use the guy out lines here. The Aries is real lightweight. It's not canvas. It's not poly cotton. It's like ripstop nylon, polynylon, I believe it's called. and it will burn. So guy out your pipe. Always a good rule of thumb. Doesn't take that long. Costs you like $3 extra for some Walmart carabiners, and you can run some wire through there, or run a carabiner through the top, through the holes in the top, to a piece of 550 cord, and stick guide out, maybe 3 of them, and you guys will be good. It's a quick fix, very good and safe. You don't have to worry about anything. And make sure you always use stakes when you're using a stove in here. You want to make sure that that tent ain't gonna be moving around, okay? And you guys can, and I do recommend it, like the Naturehike isn't that bad. I ain't too worried about this. It doesn't burn. But you can buy a rubber gasket, like a boot gasket on Amazon. They're like, I think like $20. And it, like, you poke 4 holes in there. It's like a little metal ring with a silicone seal, and that'll hold this more tight, more secure, that you don't have to guy that out if you don't want to. And it'll seal that gap if you're worried about bugs or a little bit of rain getting in. But for most part, this tent held up pretty good. It handles the wind like a champion. You can see the wind right now isn't gusting real bad here like it normally is, but we are getting like 20-mile-an-hour gusts, and it's barely moving. So you see, this is my setup, what I normally do when I go out camping. Now, I don't always take a solar panel, but when I do, this is the Renogy 100-watt foldable solar panel. You guys can see how this is. It has like these little kickstands here on the side. These are only 100 watts. That's pretty nice. Those magnetic candles. There's all the stats for everybody that likes all the stats. I'm not gonna talk to you about how many watts it is really. I mean, it's 100 watts. It'll charge your solar panel. You shouldn't be, part of my French, but dicking around playing on your phone anyways. Use your solar panel to charge up your generator, so you have lights and the necessary power for your weekend. Don't be playing on your phone. The whole idea is to get out, you know, get out, experience life, get out and experience nature. But as I said, this is how I have my diesel heater here. Now, I always carry a diesel heater with if we're just overlanding. Not really hot tenting so much, because I mean, who wants to carry that? But like, I just put the ducting hose up under the tent there, near the internal snow flap, side skirt, whatever you guys want to call it. I just stick it under the edge like that. And even in the summertime, it gets a little cool in the morning, you don't even have to stick that hose in there, just under the tent edge a little bit, and the heat will heat up through there, and it's pretty nice. Now this is a 5 kilowatt hour toolbox diesel heater. I'll show you guys what it looks like inside here. Just set up just like a toolbox. You flip the latches there, you fill this up. Now this is, people have a problem with the Sunster. I've never had a problem with this. This holds 5 liters of diesel, okay? You screw this on, this is a breather cap, and it does stay nice and tight. Nothing spills out in transport. This is the diesel heater itself. I did replace the diesel heater fuel line because it was like hard plastic, and I replaced it with an actual fuel line. That was like a $3 fix. And we close this back up like this. This has a standard plug you can plug into the back of a diesel heater as long as it's 300 watts or above. And it just pushes into here, and I just run the wire in there. This is the air intake. Here's the remote you can take inside with you. And it's pretty simple, on, off, up and down, warmer or colder, you know. And it starts out at 60 degrees, and this thing pumps it out really quick. Now, what's cool about the Sunster diesel heater is this thing also has a digital controller, and it comes with an app. The app works fairly decent. Here is the exhaust pipe. The exhaust is just this piece. It has this little muffler, although it's very, very quiet already. I just put a piece of pipe on in here so I don't burn the grass wherever I'm at, because the pipe does get hot. Make sure this thing is not bent up. You don't want it pointing straight up. You want the exhaust to flow straight out and down, and always point it away from your tent. Now, you guys can put this whole unit inside there, and you can run your exhaust pipe under the edge of the pipe, but I do recommend using a piece of pipe so it's insulated, so that you don't burn the tent with the exhaust, because the exhaust gets very hot. But other than that, this is the quietest one I've ever heard. This doesn't tap like a standard diesel heater. It's not that tap, 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 tap. Now this will tap for about 2 seconds in the startup process, which will blow cool air out the side there for a little bit. And then 2 minutes later, it is completely quiet. You don't hear no more tapping. It just sounds like a hair dryer on low until you turn it all the way up, and then you can make it like a hair dryer on high. But this little thing will heat this Naturehike Aries. And this is the smallest Aries that they make. They do make a 20-person one. It's completely round and twice as high as this one. So it's actually 10 feet, and I think it's like 20-foot round. But this little thing, I heated a 12 by 12 cabin tent, a campus tent, just fine all night long. Now that lasts for about 12 hours on low with one tank. That's 1 gallon basically of diesel fuel. Will last you all night on medium, and on low maybe 2 days with this one. Now this one was like 80 bucks on Amazon. It's got the worst reviews on Amazon. That's why I got it. I got it because I wanted to make sure, you know, because when you're on Amazon, the reviews, you can't always trust the reviews. It's a lot of user error, operator error. People don't know what they're doing, and they judge things without knowing what they're doing fully. So do it the way it's supposed to. Read the directions, understand them. This thing works perfect, okay? But see, even this here, I just messed that up. See, I left this under here. Now, if I would have started this up, it wouldn't have worked right because I'm pinching this wire here. Now, this is the kind of crap you hear on Amazon. Then somebody says it doesn't work. It's usually operator error. It's not this thing's fault. But yeah, I have this always as a backup. That's basically what it is. I'll have to do a review on this. You guys can hear how quiet this thing is. This thing is extremely quiet. But this is, like I said, is the Naturehike Aries. If you're lucky enough to get one on Amazon, I mean, if you're really into this stuff like I am, I recommend it. It's pretty good. Don't recommend it for anything below 30. Like I said, because it's really hard to keep warm with this cap the way it is, unless you cover it up with a moving blanket. There's another little thing I always carry with me. This is the Kaizen. This is a flashlight and a lantern. This is solar. If you just leave this sit onto your tent all day long, has a nice little pop ring here. You can hang it up in your tent. It has 3 settings. Switches right here in the tent here for a second. We'll move you over here. See, this is how it is. Turns into a lantern. You can hang this in your tent. It'll last all night. You guys can see it's red. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. The light showing it's charging. You can collapse it. Keep it small. Use it like a flashlight too, or a little spotlight in your tent. Now under here you can charge your phone. It does have a charging set part, so you can like actually charge your phone. I don't know how much because I have a big phone. I have a Pixel, and that'll eat that battery in no time. So I usually have the solar generator with me. But yeah, this is like I said, the Naturehike Aries. This is considered a geodesic dome, and we're not sponsored by Naturehike. We like to give a review once in a while of the gear we use. And this is a pretty unusual tent. It's nice in the summertime. It has a lot of ventilation. But yeah, if you guys got any questions, hit me up in the comment section. You guys want to come check out the hiking club or come see any of these things, any of these tents before you buy them or order them, feel free. Just give us a holler and tell us when you're should be expected, and we'll set them up for you or show you how to set them up. You guys can see what you're getting before you buy it. All right, like I said, we're not sponsored by any of these guys, but give us a thumbs up, drop us a like. You're welcome to subscribe, but you don't have to. I'm not looking for followers. So yeah, have a good one. Peace.